Planet Dolan.
From dating your former bully to text messaging strangers, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about how we met our partners. I'm Sid from behind the scenes at Planet Dolan, and today I'll be your narrator. This will be my first and only script, so go easy on me. Number 9 was submitted by HELLBENTSELIKE45. Pandora and Hellbent may be super in love now, but it wasn't always this way. When they first met, they hated each other. They saw each other each day because they had a mutual friend, but every time they spoke, Hellbent would act like a total dick to her, and they would end up arguing and calling each other names. One week, everyone except Hellbent and Pandora went on a field trip up to DC. Since regular classes were cancelled, their teacher made them do quiet study together in a small classroom. This was where Pandora got to know the real Hellbent. For the first time, they had a real conversation and they listened to each other instead of arguing. It wasn't long before they were hanging out together by choice. Their friends started to ship them, and they encouraged Hellbent to ask Pandora out. When Hellbent finally found some courage, he told Pandora that she was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. Flash forward to today, and Pandora is happily in a relationship with her one-time high school bully. Number 8 was submitted by lynxkinks. When Shima was in high school, she was really shy and she couldn't talk to boys. One night, her Skype friend introduced her to a guy who lived in the town right next to Shima's. This guy was really shy, but he was nice and they both shared a love of Minecraft. Shima and the guy quickly became friends, and they started playing Minecraft together every single night. At first, Shima was happy just being friends, but when she saw him on webcam for the first time, she became one smitten kitten. Eventually, they decided to meet in person. They went to an ice skating rink, but they were both way too nervous to talk. They tried again at a laser tag place, and it went much better. When it was time for Shima to leave, the guy awkwardly asked her for a high five. Shima gave him one, and the high five turned into several minutes of hand-holding. They soon started dating and are still going strong. Number 7 was submitted by Orange's Lie 2. Melissa and Zaraganba had been best friends since kindergarten, but when they hit high school, Melissa was shocked to discover that she had developed feelings for him. She didn't want to ruin their friendship, so she buried her feelings deep down, even though it hurt. One day, Zaraganba's football friend came up to Melissa and told her that Zaraganba had something really important to tell her after the game. Melissa went along to the game, but she didn't pay any attention. She couldn't stop thinking about what Zaraganba wanted to talk about. When the game finished, she was so desperate to talk to him that she rushed into the guy's extremely smelly locker room. Zaraganba saw her and gave a big speech about how he had been in love with her since back in the 6th grade. They started going out and have been together ever since. Melissa has never forgotten that day, or that gross locker room smell. Number 6 was submitted by Ryle Vastos. One time, Ladybot was in class getting harassed by a total douchebag. He kept touching her and calling her his bitch. Ladybot told him to stop it, but he wouldn't take the hint. She eventually got so bad that she yelled at him. This made Mr. Douchebag angry, and he shouted, "Don't talk back to me, you little shh." Before he could finish, there was a loud bang and the douchebag fell on the floor, crying about his broken nose. Ladybot saw this cute boy standing there, holding a textbook with a huge bloodstain on it. She hugged him and thanked him for helping her out. The cute boy then nervously asked Ladybot out, and she said yes! The douchebag tried to ruin their first date, but Ladybot's new boyfriend just flashed his textbook and scared him away. Number 5 was submitted by SkarlettSyn. Ramona met her future husband in a hotel lobby in Chicago. He was a handsome goth gentleman playing the Addams Family theme song on piano. When he finished, Ramona went over to compliment him on his playing. But before she could get a word out, the handsome goth man looked at her extremely excited and said,
"Hey! Are those real?"
Ramona gasped and covered her chest. She was about to yell at him for being a perv when he said,
No, I meant your eyes.
He told Ramona that her eyes were really interesting, and he wondered if they were contacts. After that hilarious misunderstanding, the two spent the whole weekend together. 6 months later, they were living together, and a few years after that, they got married. The next step is to start their own Addams Family. Number 4 was submitted by Morbus Akura. Pringle met his first girlfriend, Mimi, at school. He had liked her for a really long time, but could never find the guts to talk to her. He was worried he was too much of a weirdo for her. His friends teased him every day about his secret crush. And then one day at lunchtime, the unthinkable happened. Mimi sat next to him. Pringle's brain shut down and he was completely speechless. He had dreamt about this moment for months, and now it was finally here. He tried to slow down his mind and think of something to say, but when he opened his mouth to force a word out, he nervously burped. Pringle was so embarrassed, but Mimi found it hilarious. It ended up being the perfect icebreaker, and they started dating not long after. Number 3 was submitted by Throwaway Ocean 2. Andy met the love of her life, Adam, at a college art class. He sat next to her, asked to borrow a pen, and before they knew it, they were both head over heels in love. On their first date, they went to a Halloween horror movie night at the local cinema. Everyone was in costume except them, so the night had a very spooky feel. When the movie ended, Adam walked Andy to her car so she would be safe. They ended up standing around in the parking lot for hours just talking. Andy asked him if he would get in trouble with his parents for being out so late, and he nonchalantly said, "Nah." Years later, Adam confessed that on that night his mum actually called the cops and reported him missing because it was 3 AM and he hadn't come home yet. Number 2 was submitted by EliseDaSnareChick. Spincess met the love of her life Tollip by complete accident. She'd just graduated from college and was living alone after a bad breakup. One night, Spincess was feeling a bit down, so she decided to send text messages to a bunch of random numbers. Tollip was the only one who responded. They chatted for a while and discovered they had heaps in common. It turned out they lived pretty close to each other, so they arranged to hang out and go to a metal concert. They had such a wild night they decided to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and the rest, as they say, is history. For number 1, I'm going to tell you the story about how my girlfriend and I started dating. So back in high school when the big end of year dance was announced, I immediately asked the most popular girl in high school to be my date. Surprisingly, she said yes. But towards the end of the year, I started getting close to another girl, a girl named City. City already had a date who was actually a close friend of mine. Both of us were just taking our dates as friends. About a week before the dance, I asked City to be my girlfriend, and she said yes. But there was still the big dance coming up, and we didn't want anything to be awkward. So we kept our relationship a secret from everyone else, so our dates wouldn't find out. On the night of the big dance, when the slow dance started playing for all the couples to dance to, I went up to my date and I asked her if she would like to dance. She just said, "No thanks, I don't like slow dances." And I saw my girlfriend wasn't asked yet. So I went up to her and I asked her and I got to have the slow dance with my secret girlfriend. After the dance, me and my friends went back to my place for a sleepover, but my date decided to go home instead. The next day, me and City had planned to go out on our first official date. So as we were all heading out, we said we were going to the shopping centre. And City's date was all like, "I'll come too, I have to return my suit." So after we returned his suit, we all went to the food court to grab some food. And we sat him down and we said, we probably should tell you that me and City are dating. And it dawned on him that he had asked to tag along on our date. And he started freaking out. He was all like, "Is this a date? I'm sorry, I couldn't go if you like, I don't mind. I'm really sorry for imposing." You know, basically offering to leave us alone so we could spend private time together. And we just laughed. It wasn't that bad. It was hilarious seeing him freak out and assuming that we were upset at him for some reason. Alright, a huge thanks to the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the worst thing your family has ever done to embarrass you? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below and you might be featured in a future countdown. That's all for now, thanks for watching.